Okay, so just before continuing with the third section, just have a word on typo. In this illustration here, it is not st-1 I, this distribution here approximated. It is in fact s t tilde. Okay, so here this is the same than that this one. Okay, but at time t, if we are coherent. Okay, so I will correct the slides probably, but okay, just note that, and the rest of the explanation is correct. Sorry. Okay, so third section, the TOI-DSG model. The point here is just to describe the very simple DSG model that is used in general to illustrate a particle filtering method in the literature. So I just take the paper from Villaverde and co-authors, and the model that is used in with the same calibration and like that. So we have a simple DSG model with consumption and labor in the utility function, Cobb-Douglas production function, capital with a depreciation rate theta, delta, sorry, and technological shocks that in log is an I1. So very basic model. So in the slide, you have the derivation of first order condition and the steady state. And what is interesting here for the small example that is available in the mod file in Dynar is three calibration that have been used to simulate this DSG model, and in fact, in a second time, used to estimate in order to find again the good value. So, following the literature, we have three types of calibration: the benchmark, the one that is called benchmark, the second one that is called risky. So the risky one is a large intertemporal substitution value as regards the benchmark calibration, and a variance of the shocks on productivity larger than in the benchmark one. Okay. Here we have the risky calibration, and we have large measurement variance, and the extreme calibration is exactly the same than risky, but with lower variance for the measurement errors. So the extreme one is much complicated to estimate, as the standard deviation of measurement error are smaller. Okay. So in general, this is method, and particularly particle filters, need relatively not too small standard deviation of measurement error to explore the space of parameters. So here the extreme calibration is to test the limits of the estimation methods. Okay. So in Dynar and the mod file, we have to declare the variables, the exogenous, so the innovation for technological process, the parameters, the deep parameters of the model. Yeah, it is the risky for the risky calibration. We compute the model and we declare the shocks. Okay, so one strong notice to be discussed: the measurement error should not be declared in the block shocks here. Okay, so sometimes when you introduce measurement shocks measurement errors in a DG model, you can put them in the shocks blocks, and the Dynar will adapt in order to take into account that they behave as measurement error. So here, when we do nonlinear estimation in Dynar, you should not declare the measurement error in the block shocks, okay? Otherwise, here we have to declare this is parameter of variance, standard errors for the measurement errors, okay? And if we declare them in the block shocks, it won't be found to compute the likelihood. So the convention here is when you have measurement error that are compulsory for nonlinear estimation, you don't have to put them in the block shocks. Okay. So to declare them in the estimated params, we declare here standard R with the name of the variables that are observed and that will be used for estimation. Okay. Here we declare a block for estimated params init. So we have here the variance, the standard error for the measurement error. And here we associate the measurement error with the observed variable of the model. Okay, so this is all for the toy model. You can play to code it, or I will provide you for the exercise part as you want. Okay, so let's start with the filters in Dynar. Here is the same slide as before, so the generic particle filter that we obtain in the section 2. So here, the very basic idea is that we have as many particle filters that we have proposal to draw the current particle swarms. Okay, so what we will do in this section is to discuss in the first time the choice of the proposal. In the second time, we will discuss more approximative approach that could rely or not on particles. So nonlinear filters, but with or without particles that can do the job without the default of particle filtering to gain time, okay? But sometimes it's not very convenient because it's raw approximation based on an assumption of normality for the distribution of S. So it could be an extreme approximation, it could be an extreme assumption, and to gain speed, but in fact, we lose accuracy for the deep parameter estimation, okay? So we will discuss on this basis, and I will have a word about marginal particle filter and conditional particle filters, even if they have defaults, and we'll discuss about that a little in what follows. So the first usual particle filter is SESR. It is the very first one, and it's based on the idea that the proposal is in fact the transition distribution, the conditional of ST, conditional on ST minus 1. So why this choice? Because first, even if we do not know the transition distribution, we can easily draw particle in it by simulating the state equations of the model. So suppose that we know the particle swarm for the previous period. We know the distribution of the structural shocks. So if we draw in the known distribution of structural shock, knowing this particle here, we can simulate for a given theta and obtain a proposal particle for the current date. Okay, so it's very easy to draw in P even if we don't know it by simply simulating the state equation. Second, the point is that we don't know this distribution, so it is very difficult to evaluate it in the calculation of the weight. But here we see that there is a simplification. So in fact, we don't have to evaluate this quantity. And in fact, here it is very simple to calculate since we know the weight of the previous particle I at time t-1. If it comes from a resampling process, here we have a constant, so it doesn't matter. If there is no resampling process at time t-1, okay, so this weight count and has to be taken into account. This quantity here is the conditional likelihood of YT, so the conditional distribution of YT conditional to the particle that we have drawn in the proposal here. And it is very easy to compute if you recall the measurement equation and the fact that the errors are additive. So if we suppose that measurement errors are Gaussians, it is very easy to compute this quantity by applying the definition of a Gaussian density. So we can obtain simply these things because we know everything. And with this one, okay, that is simply the matrix of variance covariance of measurement error. Okay, so this choice for the proposal is called in the literature the smart, the blind choice. Why? Because here you can see that when we define the proposal Q, it depends on past states, okay, but also on current observable. And here, when we choose that Q is defined as the transition distribution, we lose YT. So in fact, what we do here is we draw in the proposal without knowing the information on the observable. Okay, so we can think in this as a loosey choice since we don't benefit from an important information. So this is called the blind choice. But as you can see here, this choice is defined to alleviate the calculation and to simplify the calculations. Okay, so it's a very smart choice, even if it's blind. Okay, so in Dynar, how to do that? In fact, once you have declared the toy model or the model, okay, you call estimation, and you define order equal to 2. So automatically, Dynar knows that we will do nonlinear estimation. Other keywords that are important is number of particles. Sorry. By default, is defined to 5,000. So if you choose to change this value, okay, so you just have to add number of particles and to change the value. By default, the resampling process is systematic with the SCSR filter. It is the best choice, okay. We have also the possibility to unplug the resampling process with the keyword known, or to do it when it is necessary with the keyword generic. But by experience, we don't recommend this choice. So we recommend systematic. That is why we put it in default. Okay, so the resampling method could also be chosen, but for the moment, only Kitagawa is working. It's a very good compromise between accuracy and speed. Residual is not working every time, so I have to work a little to make it work perfectly. And smooth does not work if you have many state variable in your model. So it's only working for when you have only one state variable in the model. So it's quite a limited option. Okay, so I set MHReplic to not have MCMC after estimation of the mode of the likelihood. And the mode compute is the choice of the minimization method or maximization method of the likelihood. So you can put it to 7 or 8 in general. And I will discuss this choice later, but when you have particles and resampling, as it will, we will see it will introduce difficulty to maximize the likelihood with standard method. We recommend a simplex method. So the 8 option is the Downhill simplex a la Dynar. So it works quite efficiently. Okay, so this is the basic. So when you want to do a basic particle filter, you only have to call this is command. Okay, and it will work normally. Okay, so a second very known, very famous particle filter is the auxiliary particle filter. So here, this filter is very interesting because it can be interpreted as a way to reintroduce the information of YT in the proposal. Okay, so if you recall, 1 minute ago, I told you that YT was excluded from this proposal in the standard particle filter. So we don't benefit from the information on current observable variables to make our proposal. So here, the auxiliary particle filter can be viewed as a way to reintroduce YT in the proposal. So how can we do that? We can see that as a family affair, in fact. So the previous particles at time t-1 can be viewed as parents. And the current particles at time t can be viewed as children. And the point is we will select the best parent, the most promising parent. So how can we do that? We take the parents and we make a prediction for their children. And we confront their children with the observables. So it will define some weights. And on the basis of this weight, we select the parents that provide the most promising children, the most congruent, the most coherent with the observable at time t. Okay, so it's some kind of pre-selection method of particle at time t-1 to make a proposal at time t. So in detail, so don't be afraid it's nearly the same that before, and it is the same concepts. So suppose that we know the particle swarm at time t-1. We know the particle, and here we have their weight. So this is the approximation of the filtered distribution of S at t-1, conditionally to past information. So what we do is to make some kind of forecast of the particle at time t. So to do that, what we do, we simulate the state equation for the particle at time t-1. But for instance, here, the usual choice is to take the most likely value for the shock. So it will give us a simple distribution for time t. We confront it to the observable YT through the conditional likelihood, and we use also the weight of the past particle, the weight of the parents. Okay, so it gives us a normalized weight, but this is indexed on t-1, so that we can see that it is a weight for the parents. So it is a way to weight the predictive power of particle at time t-1. So we normalize this is weight, and we resample, not at time t, but at time t-1. So here, what we have, we are selecting the most promising parents. And this gives us a new distribution at time t-1, so with the index KL, that is in fact the result of the resampling process. Okay, we have n particle, and here the weights are equal to 1/n. So once we have the most promising parents, we draw the children from a proposal Q, and it gives us an approximation of the distribution of S at time t with particles, with n particles, and we can compute their weights. So it is a little more complicated, but not very much complicated. So here we have, this is ratio that can be interpreted as an importance ratio, since we should have drawn the proposal with weight W, but we use tau weights. Okay, so this is a correction for having drawn the particle of the proposal in this distribution and not this one. So it is exactly the same as before. We have a second stage weight. Here we have we recognize the same expression than before, and here we have the past this weight, okay, of the particle of the parent. Okay, so here we have the second stage, that is the usual weight that we have seen in a generic particle filter. So this gives us the unnormalized weight for the children, the else one. And here what we can do is to normalize, and we can use this approximation as an approximation of P, the distribution of S at time t, conditionally to current information, to information up to time t. Once again, if we choose the proposal Q as the transition distribution, the unnormalized weight expression simplifies to this expression. Okay, and this is the one that is usually encountered in the literature. If here in this exercise, we could do, if we want, we can introduce a resampling step on this distribution here, okay, to prepare the loop and the next distribution for the next time iteration. But the literature seems to say that it's optional. So we are not complied to do a resampling step here, since we have a more optimal way to draw in a proposal. The proposal is more optimal than the blind choice, since we take into account the information on observables. Okay, so here the resampling on this distribution here is optional. So if you want to spare some time, you can forget it at this point. Okay, so in a mod file with dynar, we introduce filter algorithm, a new keyword that is devoted to the choice of the filter, of the particle filter you want to use. So here, if you want to use the auxiliary particle filter, filter algorithm should be set to APF. Okay, so number of particle, okay. Resampling here. You can put it to systematic if you want a second resampling step at time t, not on the parent, but on the children. But if you don't want and you want to spare some time, as it is optional, you have to set it to known. In this case, you won't have a second resampling step. Some a little exercise that you can replicate with the code if you want is an estimation on the risky data set. And as you can see here, we have the DGP, the data generating process, the value of the structural parameter that have allowed the simulation of the data set. In the first column, you have the Kalman filter, the standard Kalman filter that have been used on dynar by simply letting order by default at its default value, that is 1, or you set order equal to 1. Okay, so it will implement the standard Kalman filter, and as you can see, it's not too bad. Except here we are quite far from the true value, and here also, etc. Okay, and here we have two columns with the standard particle filter, the one with the blind choice for the proposal, and the APF, the auxiliary particle filter. Okay, so the choice are particles, they are based on particles. We choose 10,000 of particles. We set order equal to 2, since it is nonlinear resolution. And for standard particle filtering, we choose the resampling method by default, so Kitagawa, and systematic. While for the auxiliary particle filter, we choose known, so we don't have the second resampling step on the children on the children distribution. And as you can see, okay, so they provide very similar values, results, okay, that are very close to the true parameter. So here we have chosen a Dunhill simplex approach, the dynar one, so mod compute equal to 8. Okay, so if you want to replicate, you will find a very close result depending on the computer and the other options that have been changed since I computed this table. Okay. Okay, so before continuing, we have to introduce Gaussian approximation. So the basic idea of what follows is that we reintroduce some Gaussian assumption on the distribution of the latent variables. So there's many ways to approximate Gaussian distribution. So first, Monte Carlo approximation with, in fact, a loft of particles that are equally weighted. Or we can use also a sparse grid. So the most known actually are the cubature points or the unscented sigma points, okay? And the Smolyak quadrature that has been introduced in Winchell and Krasik 2010, but that is not implemented in DINAR. So we will focus on cubature and unscented sigma points. So the basic idea, for instance, is if I make an illustration for a bivariate normal distribution, okay? With the sigma point, we will summarize this is bivariate distribution with 5 nodes, okay? While with cubature points, we will only have 4 nodes to summarize this bivariate distribution. Okay, so the pros are that it is fast and easy to implement, since, as you can see, it reduces drastically the number of points for the approximation of the distribution as regard the Monte Carlo approach. Second, as we are manipulating Gaussian distribution, we will only focus on expectancy and variance. That is sufficient to characterize the Gaussian distribution. And at last, as we don't have particles to approximate the distribution, we the cons, of course, is that Gaussianity is an extreme assumption that can reveal, that can provide very inaccurate estimation, both for the distribution or for the structural parameter, if the distribution of the states is multimodal, okay? So, of course, we have gain, but we have also losses. So why it is the reason we introduce this is, in fact, to introduce a nonlinear Kalman filter. So this is a very interesting technique, since it is based on this Gaussian approximation of the distribution of latent variables. So in fact, the basic idea is to insert the nonlinear model in a Kalman-like filter. And instead of having analytical results for expectancy and variance of the latent distribution, we will approximate them numerically. So we suppose that the distribution of latent variable is Gaussian, and that we only have to track the expectancy that is noted as bar T knowing T, and the variance, the matrix of variance covariance. So that is called P with the index of the variable. And suppose, once again, that we know the distribution of the previous variable. So we know that is we suppose it is a Gaussian distribution, and we know its moments. It's 2 moments. Okay. So here, if you know the notation used in the Kalman filter, in general, here you have what is called the filter distribution. So you make an inference on the distribution of S at time t-1 conditionally to the information up to t-1. So what we do here is we approximate this joint distribution. Here we suppose it is Gaussian and here also. So it is a joint Gaussian distribution with sigma points. So either a cubature approach or unscented sigma points or a Monte Carlo approach. And here what we separate in two parts, the nodes. So we have the nodes on the variable st-1 and the nodes on the variable epsilon t. So what we do here is simply use for each node on S and epsilon, we implement the state variable, the state equation, sorry, to obtain a distribution of the current variable st. And we put it in the measurement equations to obtain a distribution, some sigma points, okay, for the observed variable. Always, we make the assumption that theta is given. When we have that, what we can do? So here, okay, it is the prediction step that we discuss, that we discuss about in section 1. So what we can do here, in fact, we have the weight of the nodes. Okay, so here we have the nodes of the sigma. We have the sigma points. So for the approximation of our variables here, and here we have their weight. So we compute a mean. So here we have an estimation of the expectancy by an average mean and an estimation of the variance by this expression, okay? So this is the moment of the predicted distribution of S at time t, but it is the predicted distribution, so it is conditional on information up to t-1. So this is exactly the same as in the Kalman filter, but except that we don't have an analytical expression to compute this moment. We use approximation and sums. We have the same here for the observable variables. So we compute the same weighted mean to obtain here the moment, and here for estimating the variance. And we estimate also the covariance between S at time t and Y at time t, applying the same estimation, the same estimator. It allows us to compute the Kalman gain using this definition, okay, and to deduce an estimation for the posterior moment of the state variables, namely the filter distribution. So if we suppose that it is so Gaussian, we only have to characterize expectancy and mean, and we estimate it, and covariance, sorry, and we estimate them using a mean and the standard Kalman filter equation. And here, the same for the covariance. Instead of, it is not an analytical expression, we only use estimation for every element of this standard formula. So here we have the updating process that we discuss in section 1. We have the Kalman filter equations, but implemented in a nonlinear framework. So of course, it is imperfect. It can't be perfect since we are in a nonlinear framework. But experience show that if you use unscented points or cubature points, it's very fast and provide quite a good inference on the linear model that you are estimating. At last, we can approximate the likelihood in order to make estimation, okay? And by the way, we suppose that the conditional likelihood is approximated by a Gaussian distribution, and we have computed the moment. But a better idea so this is the way it is expressed in Winchell and Kratzik. But a better idea is to follow the literature on particle filtering and not compute the likelihood as the probability of the average, but the mean average on the sigma points of yt. Okay, so here it is a more standard definition, more in line with the particle filtering literature. And it is simply the mean average of the distribution of the probability of the particles. To implement the nonlinear Kalman filter in DYNAR, we always choose order equal to 2, okay? And we define filter algorithm to NLKF, so nonlinear Kalman filter. And here we have a new keyword that is proposal approximation, and we can choose cubature, unscented, or Monte Carlo. Okay, so cubature, it is the more parsimonious way to approximate a Gaussian distribution. Unscented, as regard cubature, you can have option to as regard cubature, but you have a central node at 0 that is included in unscented sigma points and not in the cubature. And at last, you can use Monte Carlo. So it will use a Monte Carlo approximation of Gaussian, so random Gaussian, using the number of particle option. Okay, so if you call Monte Carlo here, it will use the 5,000 particles that are defined by default in the estimation. We set MHReplic equal to 0 in order to unplug the MCMC. And here, as it is an approach that does not depend on particles, there is no resampling, okay? We can choose, for instance, mode compute equal to 4, since here, the likelihood can be maximized using a gradient, standard gradient approach. But if you don't want to do that, you can use the Donill simplex approach. To give you a flavor about some results that you can have always for the risky calibration, using the nonlinear Kalman filter here for the Monte Carlo option, the unscented transform option, and the cubature option. Here for the unscented, you define 3 parameters to control the shape and the dispersion of the Gaussian distribution you generate. And in fact, it corresponds in terms of cubature to this is a value of alpha, beta, and kappa, and without the node 0. Okay, so in here we have made some experiments with the likelihood computed as in Winchell and Kratzik. That is the likelihood of the mean of the nodes. And here, what we have chosen, here, namely the mean of the likelihood of the sigma points. I'm sorry for this disturbance. Okay, so what we can see is that nonlinear Kalman filter provide very, very good estimates of the true structural parameters, okay, of their true value, okay, when we use this definition of the likelihood, while with this one, it is much more questionable, okay. So this is the where we use it in DYNAR. Here for the nonlinear with the Monte Carlo option, we use 10,000 particles. To replicate these results, you have to choose mode compute equal to 4 in order to use CS mean-well, so namely a gradient-based method to maximize the likelihood. So in the next slide, we use the unscented and we replicate with by changing the value of alpha, beta, kappa. So it is not very well discussed in the literature. So this is a try to see how to obtain results. But if we do that with simply the cubature, we obtain sensible results. And with a Monte Carlo approximation, it's generally the best. Okay, so of course, when you use a sparse grid, you are exposed to less accurate estimation, but it's not it's quite good.